People who are new to structural equation modeling, confirmatory factor analysis, and path analysis are often confused about the chi-square test of model fit and its interpretation. In this video, I want to show you how the outcomes of this test are properly interpreted. What does the chi-square test of model fit test? It tests the null hypothesis that the covariance matrix in the population, here indicated as sigma, is equal to the model implied covariance matrix, which is indicated as sigma theta. And one thing that I omitted here for simplicity is that if you also include the mean structure in your structural equation model or factor analysis model, then it would be assessed as well simultaneously that the mean vector in the population is equal to the model implied mean vector as well. The alternative hypothesis states that the covariance matrix in the population sigma is not equal to the model implied covariance matrix sigma theta. So this means that the null hypothesis of this test implies model fit. The model fits perfectly in the population. It reproduces the covariance structure perfectly under the null hypothesis, whereas the alternative hypothesis is in line with model misfit, a deviation between the population covariance structure and the model implied covariance structure. So this has consequences for the interpretation of the p-value that you get for this chi-square test, and many people are often confused about this. So let's take a look at two examples here. In the first example, which I took out of an Mplus output file for a simple confirmatory factor model, and it would look the same for a path analysis model or a structural equation model, you can see that we get a chi-square value of 178.68 for our empirical data and the model, and the degrees of freedom here are 2. The p-value is 0.0000, so basically 0, very small. And so when we have a very small p-value, then the null hypothesis can be rejected. Typically, we test at an alpha level or significance level of 0.05 or 5%. And so this p-value here is smaller than 0.05, and therefore we can reject the null hypothesis. So this would mean that here the null hypothesis that the model reproduces the covariance structure perfectly in the population, that null hypothesis is rejected. So this means the model does not fit. So a significant p-value means there is significant misfit. And that's something that many people are confused about when they are new to SEM and factor analysis, because typically we are happy when we get a significant p-value for other tests of significance, because this shows we have a significant result, there's a significant correlation, or there's a significant mean difference or significant regression coefficient. But in this case, it means our model is rejected. And so that's something that then is not so positive potentially, because you were thinking you developed a model that should be good and that should account for the data well. And so that result then would show you that the model does not fit. So that's an example here of model misfit. Now let's look at a more positive example as well. In example 2, which again I took from Mplus output for a confirmatory factor model, we get a chi-square value that's 0.165 with 1 degree of freedom, and here the p-value is 0.6847, so it's pretty large, definitely larger than 0.05. So here the null hypothesis does not have to be rejected. So this does not mean that this is the true model or that this model must be correct and you can trust this model 100%. It just simply means this model is not rejected. So that is one model, say, that works for the data. There could be other models that work equally well or better. This doesn't mean that this needs to be the true model necessarily, but here at least this model is not falsified. It's not rejected based on the test of model fit. So basically what we're looking for in structural equation modeling, factor analysis, and path analysis, if we think that a model should be good, is a non-significant p-value. So non-significant p-value means our model doesn't have to be rejected. Now you have to be careful, of course, because so say the this goal, so to say, of not rejecting a model can have some dangerous consequences, because then people might go ahead and collect samples that are too small, so to say, so that they don't have enough power to reject a model. And so then you have to be careful and take a look at it carefully, whether the sample size was large enough for this test to even have enough statistical power to reject a model. And it shouldn't be the goal, so to say, to keep the sample small so you don't have to reject your model. You should still look for large samples. Now, what is another thing that we can look at with the chi-square? So oftentimes people also look at the size of the chi-square value relative to the degrees of freedom. And it is a good thing when the chi-square value is not much larger than the degrees of freedom. In this case here, it is smaller. It's near 0, and we have 1 degree of freedom. That's why you get this large p-value. And so in general, when the chi-square is very high, relative to the degrees of freedom, then that indicates that there are substantial misfit. So the statistic as such can also be looked at relative to the degrees of freedom. So in summary, when you fit a factor analysis model, structural equation model, or path model, then a significant chi-square test of model fit means the model is rejected, whereas a non-significant chi-square test of model fit means the model does not have to be rejected. That doesn't prove that the model is correct. However, it means that this is potentially a model that could be good for the data. Now, maybe one other caveat here: the chi-square test of model fit is affected by many factors and not just misfit. So for example, when you have non-normal data, when you have clustered data, when you have models with many observed variables, for example factor models with many indicators or many items, then that can affect the chi-square and the p-value, and then that doesn't have anything to do with model misfit, but just simply with the fact that then the conditions of the chi-square test of model fit may not be met with maximum likelihood estimation. So there are corrections, for example, for non-normal data that you can use. There are also corrections for clustered data. There are corrections for the model size effect. When you have many indicators, then also the chi-square may not be correct. So you might want to look into that as well, because there are many reasons why a chi-square test of model fit could be significant, and it's not just model misfit. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment in the comment section, and check out the description for additional videos and workshops related to statistics and methodology, and I'll see you next time.